Hi guys, my name is Karthik and I'm from executeautomation.com and welcome to part 8 of our Understanding the ABC of Docker video series. And in this video, we will be talking about working with multiple containers using Docker Compose. So before watching this part, I will request you to watch part 6 and 7 since this part is going to be a complete continuation of those two parts. Alright, so let's get started. So the YAML files that we discussed in our previous video that I showed you how the YAML file looks like, it's kind of intended, but it is not exactly like an XML file or like a JSON file, but it has some kind of indentation, but it looks so cool because there is no confusing parentheses or braces somewhere here or there. So the YAML file looks something like this as we discussed in our previous video. So we are going to create this YAML file exactly for running the WordPress site by linking that with our MySQL database as a backend. So in this example, we are going to link these two containers, the WordPress and MySQL, as we discussed in our part 6 video of this same series. Alright guys, so let's start working there and understand how things work. So for that, I'm going to flip to PowerShell. So this is the same PowerShell that we were working in our previous video. So what I'm going to do is, in order to create our first Docker compose.yaml file, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to jump over right here in my D colon and I'm going to create a folder here. We can just call it as any name. Let's say I'm going to call it as a WordPress site. And here I'm going to create a YAML file. So in order for creating a YAML file, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make use of the code, which is nothing but the Visual Studio code. So I'm just going to call that. You can invoke the code by using code and dot and hit enter. This will bring you up the Visual Studio code right for that particular directory. So you can create a new file by just clicking in here and hit this. You can call this as docker compose.yaml. There we go. So this is your YAML file. So the YAML file, as we saw in our slide, I'm going to create exactly the same one, which is going to be this. As you can see, we have the version 2 here, and the service is going to be the WordPress and the MySQL service, and the image of the WordPress is going to be WordPress, and the port is going to be 8080:80, which is being exposed for the external world. And for the environment variable, I'm actually setting the WordPress DB password as ABC123, which is going to be exactly the password for our MySQL database. And you can see the image is going to be the MySQL latest database, right? So these are the different changes as we discussed in our part 6. We were doing exactly the same thing with a huge command, but here it's going to be very, very simple. So highly maintainable and much easier and sophisticated as well. So what I'm going to do, I have just saved the file and I'm just go over here. You can see that within this particular WordPress site, there is a docker-compose.yaml file. So now I'm actually going to open the PowerShell right here as a administrator mode. You can see it's D colon WordPress site. And now if I try to run the compose and if I hit enter this time, remember in our previous video while we were trying to run the docker-compose ps, we got an error something like this. Of course, we'll not get this time, at least. If I hit ps, you can see that it is saying nothing is there, which means it has recognized that within this particular directory we have a YAML file sitting. And now if I want to start all the services available in my configuration file, or otherwise called as my docker compose YAML file, all you have to do is just type docker compose and there is a command called up. So basically this will start all the services defined in your configuration file. So I'm just going to hit enter. You can see that it is creating a WordPress default driver and then it is creating the WordPress site, and you can see that it is initializing the database and it says that the WordPress is not found in that particular directory and it is copying it right now. So you can see there is a live feed of data automatically being streamed out from the container and being displayed into this console, which is cool, right? It was not there while we were doing it in our Docker command in our previous videos. So it has completed the WordPress site, fully copied over there, and now it is trying to connect to the SQL server. For some reason, it couldn't connect to that particular SQL server. That's okay. Let's try to actually go over our localhost colon 80, the port which we just gave, and see if we could get the website there. So I'm gonna go over here, localhost colon 8080, and if I hit enter, it's nothing coming in there. It seems like the MySQL init process is just now done. So the database has been initialized right now. And now if I try to run this localhost colon 8080, and if I start it right now, now you should see the database, but for some reason it is not coming up. Let me go right here in the D colon and cd WordPress site. There we go, docker -compose ps. So for some reason the website has been exited, and that's the reason we are not actually able to see the particular WordPress site coming up there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stop all the running services which is running right now. So I'm just going to killing this process, and then I'm going to clear the screen. Now let's see if I could see any services running. Alright, it seems like it has exited without any problem there. And now if I once again do the docker compose up and hit enter, okay, seems like it is right now running. And you can see that both of these website is currently up and running. I don't know for what reason it has stopped, but it is actually running. So there won't be any problem right now. So if I go to the localhost colon 8080, right now I should see the WordPress installation page. So if we see that, there we go. If I see this, then which means we have a connectivity with our two containers, and we are pretty much ready to go for the installation of our WordPress site. And this is exactly the same screen which we were dealing with in our previous videos, which is nothing but the part 6 of this particular video series. So we did the installation of WordPress site, and we created a new page, and we also saw how things works by linking two containers. And that's exactly is going to happen in this particular stuff as well. And you can see the complete live feed of data is being streamed over to this console, and that is the power of your YAML file, so that you can see that everything is up and running right here just with one single command. And if you want to stop the compose, then you can just run the docker -compose and down, which will stop everything. Or otherwise just hit Control C. You can see that it will automatically stop the WordPress site and the MySQL service, and you are pretty much done. And now if I try to see if it is running by hitting the docker compose ps, you can see that the state is exit, which means it has stopped. And now if we try to navigate to that particular website, you would see that it won't connect, so you will get an error. So which means the containers has stopped. So this is how you can actually work with the YAML files of docker compose and perform a lot of operation into just one single command, right? So that's it, guys. Thank you very much for watching this video, and have a great day.